Hi there, this is Navlaka, founder of EverCoach, and in this video, we will be discussing 7 killer and powerful questions that you can use as a life coach to create transformative results with your clients. But before we get the party started, make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you can get notified every single time we post an amazing video like this one so you can be better in your practice. So now, let's hit that. One of the key differences between a great life coach and an average life coach is the quality of questions that they ask and the area of life that they focus on. An average life coach, most of the time, focuses their effort in pondering on the past. Pondering on the past simply means they would ask questions like, why is it that you believe certain things? Why is it that you have these challenges in your life? Why is your behavior the way you have as a behavior? While these questions leaning into the past are great to understand your client, they don't really help you becoming an extraordinary life coach, somebody who can really change the life of their clients. An extraordinary life coach understands the past but really focuses on the future. You see, you cannot change the future of a person by only focusing on their past. So let's talk about some of those questions that will give you the ability to really lean into the future and create an extraordinary life for your clients. So let's talk about the first question that leans you into the future in a very interesting way. The question is, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? This question is so powerful because fundamentally what is requesting our clients to do is to forget about the fears that may be stopping them and forget about anything can happen that can get them to fail. The fear of failure is one of the biggest fears that we have that counters proactive action. When we are taking action, the reason why we stop in our trenches, the reason why your clients don't get to the outcomes that they really want to get to is because they suddenly realize, what if it doesn't work out? What would people say? What if I lose money? What if I lose relationships? And so on and so forth. All of these fears, which are very natural for a person to come through, are the reasons why we don't take action. And the easiest way to counter that fear of failure is to give them the possibility of success. So when they are thinking about, hey, what if I fail and my friends don't like me anymore, or I lose money, or I don't get a client that I really wanted to get, and so forth. If you ask them, hey, listen, let's look at the possibility. What's the possibility that is presenting itself in case you are actually successful? So let's take away the idea of that you will fail. Let's think about the idea that you will be successful. When you invite that into the conversation, your client is a lot more relaxed and they can lean into the future and they can think about their future and for a moment or two, forget about the potential of failure, which gives them a way to get back into action. It shows them that what is possible if they transcend beyond that fear is much greater than the fear itself. So that's one of the great questions to lead a conversation with, especially if a client is feeling that they're not able to take action or they're feeling the fear of being able to take action because they're so scared of the failure that may be associated with it. One of the key things that an extraordinary life coach does is set really good goals. They set really good goals around all areas of the life of the individual they're coaching with. And a great tool to do that, by the way, is the Wheel of Life tool, which we made a video about a few weeks ago. So we're going to link it up below. So once you've helped your client identify really good goals they're excited about, goals they're looking forward to, you want to ask them a secondary question. How is it that achieving this goal will help you and others around you? See, this question gets the client again into a state of having that positive force that makes them realize what the potential future may look like. But the second part of this question, which invites them to also think about what would achieving this goal do for people around them, brings that emotional side of them that really associates the achievement of the goal with the outcomes for their friends, their families, their loved ones. You see, we are all capable of creating the future that we want to create in our lives, but we fail to take action towards those futures, and that's just our behavior. And if we can change and shift our behavior, we can get to the outcomes that we really, really desire. Which is why if you can get somebody motivated and interested in getting those outcomes, not only for themselves, but for people around them, you have a bigger buy-in from them wanting to achieve that goal. And if they want to achieve that goal inherently in their body, in their soul, they have a lot more reason why to continue to take action. Which is also why we'll use a little bit of fear to continue to motivate them. Which leads me to the third question that you may want to ask your clients when you're motivating and associating their goals to positive outcomes. Ask them the question of, what happens if you didn't achieve your goal? You see, while a lot of your clients may be excited about the achievements and successes that may have in life, one of the biggest fears a person can have is the life not fully expressed, not fully lived. When we ask the question of, what will happen if you didn't achieve your goal? It invites them to also draw out the scenario where nothing really changes. And when nothing really changes, life may feel dull, may feel boring, may feel not exciting. And sometimes it actually may mean that the life is actually going towards a negative spiral. It is actually not being stagnant, it's actually going to crap. And that is exactly the reason why you want them to draw out the scenario, which is, what happens if you don't achieve these goals? What happens if you don't make progress towards these goals? Because that draws out the scenario which invites them to really think about, hey, this is all that my life may look like if I don't make progress towards my goals. And that allows you to use a little bit of fear to help them stay motivated and interested in making daily progress towards their larger goal. Now, while the larger goal is very exciting and we want to achieve it, guess where most people fail? It's about the actions that lead to that larger goal. We start the process and then we stop the process. And that happens with our clients, right? So the question you want to ask as a follow-up is something to the tune of, what is the small step? What is the quick step that you can take right now that will be in progress to your goal? This question invites them to break down their large goal into small, tiny, actionable steps that they can take right now. Having a great goal, having a big vision of your life is amazing and outstanding, and it will drive a lot of us to be able to continue to have that progress. But we all know that life gets in the way. And when life gets in the way, only small, tiny steps that associate with quick wins are the way for you to continue to stay in the path of progression towards the goal that you ultimately want to achieve. The goal that you want to achieve may take a year, 2 years, 5 years to achieve, and that can be exhausting, that can be tiring. Life events will get in the way for you to not be able to continue the same level of momentum that you started your journey with. Which is why you want to stop, pause, and really ask yourself, what's the small thing that I can do right now? And that is exactly the question that you want to ask your clients. While making daily progress, you're saying yes to a lot of things in your life, but what you need to be aware of is that you'll have to say a lot of no's in your life as well. Which brings me to my next question. While working with your client, ask them, by saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? You see, a lot of times we want it all and we want it all at the same time. But when we are committed to a vision, a long-term goal of ourselves, often the journey of it can overwhelm you if you try to take it all and do it all at the same time. You may be able to do all of it in a period of time, but at any given moment, there's only a certain amount of things that you could be working towards. Which is why you have to be extremely mindful of the idea that if you're saying yes to a certain things, you may also be saying no to a lot more things. That simply means that when you are making the yes list of all the ideas, all the things that you are going to do and achieve and make progress towards, you also want them to take a minute and identify all the things that are in their life right now that they will have to say no to. That may include the kind of people they're hanging out with, that may include the certain kind of habits they may have, that may include a job they might be undertaking right now, that may include many other sub-elements that they will have to say no to continue to actually take action towards things that they're saying yes to. Even among the yeses, sometimes there are so many things that we are saying yes to that we have to identify what is really, really important to our clients and to ourselves. Which is why the next question you want to ask them, what is really important to you? The reason why this question is so vital and important is because we think everything is important. Everything that we put on the plate is important. Everything that we can think of is important. And while it may seem so, it's not really a fact. What is really important is really important, and rest of the things are important, but not really important. You want your clients to be able to identify what is really important and be able to start working on that as their first few things. Like we identified, if they don't identify what they have to say no to, if they don't identify what is really important, they might get stuck and get overwhelmed because of the sheer volume of activities and the sheer volume of changes that are coming at them at the same point of time. Which brings me to my final question, which is a question your clients may be asking themselves every single day. You may also want this question to be asked to yourself every single day. The question is, what are you focusing on today? You see, we set out a big vision. We said no to a lot of things. We know there's progress that needs to be made every day. We know there are habits that need to be built every day. There are actions that need to be taken every day, which is why it's important to make this the number one thing we do every morning before we get to our phones and devices, is to ask ourselves, what am I going to focus on today? If we can just focus on one thing every day and secure one win every single day, we'll find that over a course of just a few months, we would have new habits, we would have new outcomes, we would have changed our lives so dramatically that our friends would wonder, what happened? What happened in such a small period of time? Because you were able to secure that one thing, that one win every single day. So I invite you to try and become just 1% better every single day, to focus on just one item and say, this one item I'm gonna do really, really well, and I'm gonna achieve it every single day. I invite you to invite your clients to be able to secure that win every single day. Because when you do, you will find that their lives have completely transformed. And if you do that in your life, you'll find, coach, that your life is completely transformed. Now, these are some very simple but really powerful questions that you could be using in your coaching practice when you're interacting with your client to have them be more future focused, be more future oriented as a life coach. Like I established, if you are only pondering on the past as a life coach, you may be limiting the outcomes that are possible with your clients. You may be processing things that don't need to be processed anymore or need way more time to process than you can possibly support as a life coach. But if you take that information from the past and translate it to extraordinary outcomes in the future, that is where your real power as a life coach really resides. You became a life coach not to just help people ponder on their past, but to create extraordinary futures. And you can do that if you focus in the future. The questions I suggested are just a few that help you look into the future and create extraordinary outcomes for your clients. Now, thank you so much for watching this video. Below this video, let me know if these questions were useful for your coaching practice. And if not, what are some of the questions that you would recommend I should have added in this video? I'd love to hear more powerful questions that you've utilized in your life coach practice so we can all share, and as a community, as a tribe, we learn together. If you know a friend, a colleague, or somebody that should have information that is presented in this video, go ahead, share this video with them. We'd love for them to be a part of the community. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead, hit that red subscribe button so you can get a notification every single time we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ajit Navlaka, and thank you for being an amazing life coach.